Ow. Yeah, so if you've seen the YouTube short that we posted on our channel, I got a little crazy with the hand gestures. Maybe popped myself in the face. Yeah, I was feeling this movie, I guess.
In all seriousness, he accidentally hit himself in his face, and I will never doubt his commitment to sparkle motion.
This part of my lip is a little inflated.
Welcome to the review. What's going on, y'all? We're the Cinefanatics. My name's Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams. Ow.
And you're okay?
I'm fine.
So, we got a review, spoiler-free, for Creed 3. Numbnuts over here actually did hit himself in the face, and it was hilarious.
Move on. Just let me do my thing.
Anyways, again, this is going to be spoiler-free, so we're not going to reveal who won the big major fight at the end, so nothing to worry about here.
It was Rocky.
It was Rocky. He wasn't in this movie. Oops, spoiler. It's not really a spoiler. So anyways, before we get started, we want to know your opinion. Let us know down below in the comments. What did you think of this movie? Let us know, because we might not be correct with our opinions. Just curious as to what yours are.
That's not how opinions work.
Yeah, I know. It's all completely subjective. Anyways, we enjoyed the movie, I would say. It's a very enjoyable movie. It fits within, like, the Creed series.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I'm going to have a very hard time trying to figure out where I'm ranking this movie along with everything else, since we're doing the marquee of ranking all the Rocky and Creed franchise, like,
Tomorrow night,
this Friday.
Later tonight, depending on when you watch this, when
March
this
3rd
video comes out.
March 3rd,
Yeah.
7:30 Pacific time on this channel, live.
10:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
I'm going to have a hard time figuring out where this ranks with everything else because, again, I feel like the Rocky Creed franchise as a whole is just chock full of good movies.
Yeah.
They're just really good movies.
It is. Yeah, they're all enjoyable. Even like the low points in the series, I would say, are still entertaining, enjoyable, fun to watch. So we will talk about that on the marquee. As for this movie right now, let's get into like some of the details with this. Let's start off with like the good things of this movie. I would say first thing right off the bat, the thing that everyone is primarily talking about with any Rocky Creed movies is how's the relationship between the hero, whether it's Rocky or Creed, and the adversary. I wouldn't necessarily say villain,
The
but
antagonist.
the antagonist of it. In this case, we've got Adonis versus
Kang.
Damien.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Damien is his name.
So I think the relationship between those two is very good.
Yeah.
Like, both actors are very well dedicated to their roles within this movie, and they both do a phenomenal job playing those roles as well.
Yeah, they do a really good job of showing off just the level of friendship they once had when they were younger, their brotherhood that they had when they were younger. You really feel that relationship there. I know a lot of times, like, a movie might kind of tell you that there's this relationship, but then when they go to show it, there's something's missing. There's nothing missing here.
Yeah.
They're hitting boxing gloves or hitting the nail on the head or whatever you want to say is a metaphor here. They really are. They really do look like longtime friends, that they've known each other. They have that chemistry, and that's just really a testament to the performance of both Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. I will say one other thing about Jonathan Majors that kind of dawned on me while we were watching
Dude's in
this movie.
shape.
First of all, he's in shape.
He's scary.
The Avengers are screwed. But along those lines, I was watching this, I was like, did you think that he was more threatening and intimidating in this movie than he was in Quantumania?
I mean, it's really hard to compare and contrast. It's a very different movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so first of all, just kind of like a sidetrack on this. The Kang in Quantumania is one of, like, multiple Kangs. So, and obviously the Kang that we saw in this movie was kind of like the weaker Kang, I guess.
What a nerd. So, yeah, Jonathan Majors in this movie, he has a more realistic threatening to him.
Yeah.
In which case, I think that is what you're kind of talking about. I feel a little more terrified if I'm like standing here looking at him because he looks like he can break me.
Must break you.
Yeah. So Jonathan Majors is on a grand tour of being an amazing actor right now, and just continue giving him all the projects. Honestly,
pretty sure Creed 3 is going to be #1 this weekend as well.
Absolutely.
So he's going to be in back-to-back #1 movies. So
yeah, he was absolutely fantastic in this. He is, obviously Michael B. Jordan is a highlight.
Yeah.
You come to it, you know that he's going to do a good job because he's done a good job in 2 movies before. We know Tessa Thompson's there. She's doing a good job as well. She brings a lot of heart to this movie. And I love also, like, side note, there's a lot of juxtaposition between her role to Adonis as Adrian had to Rocky, and just a clear difference in those two individuals. And I really like how they spent time, maybe not intentionally highlighting it, but kind of showing off the difference between how she is with Adonis.
Like, Adrian was very meek when we first met her in the original Rocky, while Bianca
is a strong, independent woman.
Strong, like, right off the bat, and love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was all good chemistry between all the actors, really, in this movie.
Yeah.
The other thing I like, speaking of Michael B. Jordan, this was his directorial debut. This is his first time directing a movie, and so therefore this is realistically very much a passion project for him.
Yeah.
And I think he did phenomenal. Like, it actually took me a couple of times realizing that he's the one directing it, especially when, like, the movie's over, the lights start coming up in the theater, and it flashes, directed by Michael B. Jordan. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then going back and looking at, like thinking about of all the shots that were in this movie, he's definitely got some, like, flair to, like, the shots and his directorial eye, I guess.
There was choices he made that were very different than, say, what we've gotten in the Creeds before.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that he is committed to this project. He's committed to this franchise because this does feel like an actual, like, continuation of what Ryan Coogler did with the first one, or what Stephen Cable Jr. did with the second one. It feels like, I don't want to say like it feels like it could have been the same director for each one, but you can tell that there's consistency in all of their visions for the franchise as a whole, which I really like. I think it's a really good thing. But on top of that, for this being Michael B. Jordan's, like, first movie that he's directed, he knocked it out of the park. Or maybe it's the wrong sport.
He knocked it out.
It's the wrong sport reference.
He just knocked it out.
He did a fantastic job. There was some moments that I really
KO'd
liked.
it.
There were some moments where there was, like, a duality between him and Damien, between Adonis and Damien, and the way it was, like, shown on screen, or some of the, even, like, the slow motion moments during fights and stuff that he captured was a little bit different than what they've done with the Creed franchise or with the Rocky franchise. See, I mixed Rocky and franchise there. What he's done differently with those franchises that came before.
It's your lip, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blame it on the lip.
Absolutely.
Hey, you know who you sound like?
Someone who wasn't in this movie.
That guy in Demolition Man.
Oh, yeah, him.
There's
Rambo.
definitely, there is a shot in there specifically, you're talking about the duality. There's a shot where Damien is in, like, the locker room or whatever, sitting in a chair. Adonis was just talking to him. Adonis walks out and he pauses in the hall, and we as the audience see, like, the wall dividing them, and they're both, like, it was a great shot.
They're both silhouetted with, like, lights behind.
Yeah.
It's actually it's a really well done shot.
Yeah.
So Michael B. Jordan, fantastic directing debut.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to see him now direct something that may not necessarily be based off of a previously existing IP.
Yeah,
see how he does.
Let
with
him
that.
do something original, or what have you.
Next thing I really liked about it, the music. The music in this movie. I mean, granted, this takes place in L.A. We're out of Philadelphia, so we've got a lot of specifically a lot of hip hop in this. It's good. It amps up the crowd, pumps up everyone, both the crowd there fictionally in the movie and those of us sitting in the theater. I don't know if you caught it, but not spoilery. I'm talking about lyrics to song, but there's one time one of the lyrics is like, "You crossed me like your arms in Wakanda," and I was like, that's funny.
Get it? Because Michael B. Jordan was in that Black Panther movie.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
The other thing specifically about the music I like is, even though, again, Rocky's not in this, But because this is still set within the bubble of the Rocky franchise, we still get like bits and pieces of music previously heard from the Rocky franchise.
Yeah.
And I guess that makes sense because it's also been carried over into Creed.
Yeah, some of Bill Conti's original score kind of comes back in here a little bit, and here's the thing, like, we understand that where some pieces of music originate in the franchise that was based on Rocky, now we're in a completely different franchise. We're in Creed, we're in Adonis's franchise. They're still related, so there's still music that has to tie the entire franchise together. It's like Star Wars. You're going to have new pieces of music for the prequels than you're going to have in the originals, but you're still going to have main themes that attach to the whole franchise.
Yeah, the music no longer necessarily belongs just to Rocky. It's
Right.
just encapsulating the entire franchise. Kind of interesting. If this ever goes beyond Creed, will that continue as well?
Yeah.
One last thing I really enjoyed out of this was the deaf representation in this movie. In Creed 2, we realize that Adonis and Bianca have a daughter who is going to be deaf. This movie fast forwards like about 5 years or so.
5, 6, 7
Yeah,
years.
something like that. And so at this point, she's much older, and the whole family is now extremely fluent in American Sign Language. And I loved seeing that. The actress that played Amara was Mila Davis Kent, and she does a phenomenal job in this role. Apparently she actually is deaf. She hasn't had too many roles, so we had to look this up. And yeah, she is a deaf actress. So love the representation by hiring someone deaf. This kind of reminds me of Coda.
Yeah.
When they actually got deaf people to play deaf characters.
And I think it's a nice touch too, because it adds a lot of new heart to the franchise as a whole.
Yeah.
It's not just, dealing with Adonis and his demons and the things that he battles with as he's stepping into the ring. He's also, we also got things that are happening at home. Now, obviously, it was more of a piece of contention for them in the second movie than it is here. Here, everyone's happy, healthy, and, you love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is great that, they carried forward on that story. Even so far as like they did even more with Bianca's story in this movie that I really liked too, and kind of I want to highlight on this actually. It wasn't that in many of these movies you have a situation where the wife, the girlfriend, whoever is just kind of doing just so much in the movie. She's there, she's present, but she isn't given a whole lot to do. They really did a lot of like good character stuff with her, and kind of like highlighted, yep, while she is present in Adonis's life, she is who she is in his life. She has her own things that she's going through as well. She has her own challenges that are relatable to, audiences, but also everything else that's happening in the movie too.
Yeah. So real quick, I don't want to dwell on this too much, but kind of like I would say like the negative takeaways. For me specifically, the big final fight, there is what looks like a dream sequence during that. Not spoiler at all.
Something that takes you kind of out of the reality of the fight as it's happening.
Yeah. So for those of y'all who may be like fans of boxing movies like Rocky, like us, we're big time boxing fans. When we're watching a Rocky or Creed movie, outside of that, we really don't follow the sport. But within the confines of the movie, the final fight, or in Rocky 5, street fight, whatever, the final fight in the movie is, for all intents and purposes, the superb owl, the big game of that movie. And so therefore, anything that kind of like takes you away from it feels like it distracts away from the realistic nature of watching a boxing match in real life. Granted, yes, we are watching a movie, it's scripted, it's all planned out, they're all acting, whatnot.
Yeah.
But as the audience connecting to that movie, I feel like it kind of took me out of it for a bit.
It didn't so much me. I think I was able to like kind of really roll with it. I did recognize it though as something that I think could take some people out of it for sure. I was fine with it, but I think a lot of people might be in the same boat as you, which is, hey, what are we doing over here? And then this is happening, and it's like this. I think it's a cool sequence. I think the sequence, if you look at the sequence in a bubble, the sequence itself is actually really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that in that situation. It might not resonate. Like if you're one of those who enjoys Rocky, you enjoy that final fight, you want it to stay in the ring, you want it to stay real and grounded in that ring, that might take you out of it. I do think it was a fun, interesting sequence though, and a nice little change that's definitely something that you feel like Michael B. Jordan wanted to add to the franchise.
Yeah. And then the only other thing, of course, obviously, is the big elephant in the room, Rocky. This movie was missing Rocky's heart.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, like, whenever you see Rocky has his own personality that he brings to all of his movies. Sylvester Stallone has this character nailed down. And while Sylvester Stallone has played Rocky with different personalities throughout his own movies on into the Creed movies, he still has had a constant nurturing, caring heart about him, and that was severely lacking in this movie.
Rocky's a softie on the inside, just kind of like my lip.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially when you get the idea of Donnie having to work with or fight against his old childhood friend, who's now like his enemy. It would have possibly been nice to have Rocky there as the other side of that. The friend who's still supporting him, who's giving him the advice. I get the fact that we're wanting to move away from Rocky.
Yeah.
That this needs to be the Adonis Creed show at this point. I completely understand it, but it's just, again, this is still, no matter how much of a bubble you look at it, it's still the Rocky franchise as a whole.
Yeah.
And it was missing that.
And here's the thing, all the behind the scenes stuff aside of why, Sylvester Stallone wasn't involved in this project specifically, I do feel like Creed 2 did enough good job.
Yeah.
And Rocky saying, it's your time now, and then he sits down and, that's kind of the end of Rocky's story. I do think that, you don't want to necessarily spend really any time on Rocky in this movie. And obviously they didn't. They spent absolutely zero time on Rocky in this movie. But maybe the idea of a passing conversation at some point, they're just like, hey, have you heard from Rocky? Yeah, he's doing great. He's, spending time with family. He's doing well out there. Or some kind of like, maybe like right before the final fight, Adonis gets a phone call from Rocky or something, and
hey, yo, good luck to yous and all.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm rooting for you, kid. This is your time, kind of a situation. I think something like that is enough where it's not taking away from Adonis's story at all, but it still gives us the okay, yeah, cool. You guys do remember that. Where the foundation of this franchise came from, who started the whole thing, because you don't have the Creed franchise without Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's still room in there to be like, yeah, he still exists, he's still okay, he's fine, don't worry about it. We're not doing a death of Rocky storyline here. He didn't die off screen. He's out there existing. He's okay. Otherwise, we just kind of have to assume those things. We have to assume that I'm sure Rocky's fine.
We have no idea what to actually assume. So, anyways, that's really all like the negative to it. So yeah, still enjoyable movie.
Great movie.
The negatives, maybe small nitpicks if you want to call them that. But yeah,
I would say the Creed franchise at this point, solid trilogy.
It could have been the only other possible negative thing I would have said,
or maybe not.
Yeah. Well, I was already on another track. I think this movie could have been just a little bit longer. Just flesh out a couple of more.
I want to spend more time with Donnie.
Yeah, or make a fourth movie and make it not a trilogy. I don't know.
Let's be honest about this. There was 6 Rocky movies. There could be 6 Creed movies.
There's there's a potential for another movie to come. So I don't know.
We don't know. We'll see in the future. But
we didn't stay after the credits to see if like they're unfreezing Clubber Lang's cryogenically frozen body. So who knows?
What do you want to do to Adonis Creed?
Pain. Nice. Anyways, if we were ranking this movie, I would say for me, out of 10, this movie's probably, I don't know, about 7 or 8.
I give it about a solid 8.
Yeah, it was a decent movie. I honestly think it's probably the weaker of the 3, but that's not saying like it's complete trash.
It's hard to say, honestly, because like this is like really we just saw it. This is one of those situations where when we rewatch it later on in concession with the other 2 and just kind of feel the whole trilogy as a whole, it might change. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, it's hard to say it's the weaker of the 3 because all 3 are just fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I like tacos, but if you give me 3 different tacos, one of them's bound to be the weakest of the
One
3
of them
tacos.
be my least favorite of the tacos.
I'm still enjoying all 3 tacos. So
Yeah, it really is a great movie. High suggestion, high recommendation, whatever the word is. My lips got me all messed up. High recommendation from us over here. Get to the theater, go see it. Go reward Michael B. Jordan for doing a good job directing this movie.
Yeah, anyways, that's going to do it for this review. Again, what did you think? Let us know down below in the comments. Make sure you give us a like. You like this video, you like our opinions, you like the ability for us to share our opinions, give us a like, and subscribe to the Cinefanatics. We're doing some great stuff over here. We got the tagline on Wednesday nights where we talk about movie news. Again, we got the marquee. We're going to be ranking Rocky Creed movies later tonight by the time you see this video, if you're watching it when this video comes out. Otherwise, go catch that on a replay as well. That was a lot of fun, I'm guessing.
It was.
And then also we got the Cinefanatics podcast. Almost anywhere that you get your audio podcast, there is a video version right here on this channel. So we talk about interesting stuff regarding movies and whatnot. You can follow us on social media at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and YouTube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP.
And you can follow me at Busted Lip McGee. At Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP. Streaming, having a whole lot of fun, doing a whole bunch of fun things with the community, so you don't want to miss out. Come hang out.
Yeah. Anyways, again, that's going to do it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Y'all have a great evening. Goodbye. I say evening. It's like night right now.
I think it's bleeding again.
Oh, good job.